Let me try that again. You gotta nail the intro, right?
Yeah.
Usually you write this for me, don't you?
Yeah, I should have.
I'm just editing all the shit in there. It's gonna be great.
Hey Cadre, I'm Jeremy from Founders, and you guys all asked some questions of me, and now I'm gonna take this opportunity to answer them for you. So thanks for hanging out. Let's get to it. Question number 1. The last time I had it, which was Black Party 2011, I believe, I asked what black biscuit was. I was told it was the second runnings of a KBS and CBS with black biscuit malt added. Is that true? No, that's not true. I don't know who told you that, but that's not good information. Black Biscuit is actually its own beer. I'm glad you asked, because I actually have a copy of the recipe right here in my pocket. Black Biscuit, 2010. So you probably did have it in 2011, because it did spend a year in the barrel. No, this does have its own funny story, though, actually. This was following Curmudgeon's season. Curmudgeon's our old ale, and somehow we just didn't get the numbers right as far as how much we were supposed to make, so I was left over with quite a few extra Curmudgeon ingredients, one of them being a biscuit malt, which is a malt that I don't use in any other beer, so I had to find a use for this thing. The other being a bunch of molasses, another ingredient in Curmudgeon. So decided to try to make a beer using up some of these things, maybe a hint of some dark malt. We went with some chocolate malt and a little bit of a debittered black too. And this was right around the time when we started getting those magical maple bourbon barrels also. So after I had tried a version of a breakfast stout in there, I believe this was the next beer we tried. And that's where that came from, and boy, do I get a lot of questions about, are you ever going to make this beer again? And I honestly, I don't even remember this beer. It was so long ago. I don't remember what the beer tasted like. I remember being fun. So just out of that reason alone, I should probably make it again. So maybe someday soon, we have expanded our barrel age program so that I am looking for ideas, get a couple new ones out every year, bring back some old favorites, and Black Biscuit could be on that list. Thanks, Dirk, for the question. Question number 2. Any chance of brewing a barrel-aged curmudgeon? Asks our friend Robert. Well, Robert, I'm glad you asked that question too. Actually, I'm drinking one right this second, so I take it you have not been in our tap room in the last few months, because we did some barrel-aged curmudgeon, and I can tell you that it's quite lovely. Clocking in about 13%. It's got some kick to it, but I think it works real well. So we got to be getting towards the end of it, though, so get yourself down to our tap room here real quick. Question number 3, Jeremy. First of all, thanks for the great beer. Since you started out as a home brewer, any advice and suggested books, stores for building a base knowledge before trying it myself and starting materials? Yes. Thank you for the kind words. I would say, yes, I was a home brewer, and I leaned very heavily on our friend Charlie Papazian, who wrote some amazing getting started home brewing books. The Complete Joy of Home Brewing belongs in everybody's library. Plenty of great reference there. He also had a recipe book. I think it was Homebrewer's Gold, which I used a lot of. As you progress a little bit further along, the Ray Daniels Designing Great Beers book is still a book that I reference regularly. So great book for once you get the hang of what you're doing, putting some recipes together. Part 2 of that question, do you have any thoughts or advice for a recent college graduate who is trying to enter the craft beer industry? Well, I guess it depends what you went to college for. If you came away with a biology or microbiology degree, there's a lot of opportunities. A lot of breweries are really expanding their QC, their quality programs, and we hire biologists, fairly regularly now. They're an important part of what we do, and having that lab experience will put you pretty far ahead. If you want to work in our cellar, I think plumbing skills are generally pretty helpful. You want to work on hot side and actually brew the beer. Some home brewing knowledge will help you out there. Although I feel like a lot of home brewers that want to get into the industry, well, they want to be the brewer, right? They want to write the recipes and brew the beers that they design. The reality is that there's not a whole lot of positions that are like that. We hire a lot of people. You know, we have hundreds of employees, but really I'm the only guy that gets to do the fun stuff like write recipes. So get yourself in the door. Don't be afraid to take an entry-level gig if you can financially justify it. Working your way up through the system is a great way to go about learning all the steps and what everybody does, and you know, settle in on something that is matches your skill set as well. Part 3 of that question, and what is your favorite Founders beer and favorite beer in general? Geez, tough to say. My favorite Founders beer, I would probably put Harvest Ale up there. It's our wet hopped beer that we make once a year. It's a big ordeal to make it. It's a lot of fun though, it's delicious. There's only one way to get that fresh hop flavor, and that's by using these hops that have just been picked. So, other beers that I like in general, pale hoppy sessionable beers. Sierra Pale is always a good staple go-to. Bell's Two Hearted probably got me into this industry. I drink a lot of All Day, PC Pills, you know, those kind of things. Thanks for your question, Nate. Question number 4, Founders has become my favorite brewery. That's very kind, thank you. Based on one primary characteristic, flavor. It's a good characteristic to have. I find many of Founders beers to be the most flavorful, regardless of style, that I have tasted. As a home brewer, I have tried to replicate the rich flavors I have found in Founders beers, but so far I have fallen well short of the target. To what do you attribute the rich flavors you have been able to consistently achieve in your beers? Flavor, yeah, flavor is where it's at. And I believe that we are able to really get those big flavors because of the nature of the balance of these beers. I think that you can get aggressive with any ingredient, with any flavor, as long as you do balance that out and you just don't have it, you know, sticking out like a sore thumb and hitting your palate in a bad way. So take a beer like Dirty Bastard, where there's an insane amount of caramel malt in there, more so than any book would ever tell you can use. Yeah, so plus 40 IBUs will put you out of the range of the style guidelines, but it doesn't matter because with all that caramel malt in there, the way that the hops will balance that out allows you to get aggressive, and it creates a full flavored beer that rides your palate in the right way. So I would say balance is the way to achieve those full flavors. Thanks, Haf. Question number 5, is Doom related to the beer Hand of Doom that was a special release at Founders in 2010? If so, why the name change? Hand of Doom is a Black Sabbath song that we're all very fond of, and we all love Black Sabbath and listen to it a lot. When it came time to put out this beer that was called such, rather than run the risk of Ozzy Osbourne or Tony Iommi suing us, we decided to just not go that way, and so we kept the spirit of the name alive, but just simplified it down to Doom and no lawsuits. Question, hey Jer, over the years, what's your favorite beer recipe to put together and brew, and why? I don't know about favorite. I suppose I would say that you know, the all-day recipe was my biggest challenge, so in a way that was maybe you could say my favorite, just because it took so much of my effort and so many trials and so many you know, versions to get through. Complicated beer, the malt, the grains, the hops, the balance that was required of that beer took a lot of work. So it was a challenge for me, and it was pretty fun. You know, some beers you throw together and you nail it first try, and you're like, wow, that's really good. I wouldn't change a thing, but that was not one of them. So I'm proud of the way that we had to, you know, work through that and what we came up with in the end. Question, is the CBS base beer the exact same as the KBS base beer? And if not, why? Well, it is. It is the same base beer. I believe the first time that we got those maple barrels in, I think I probably just threw some breakfast stout in there, much like I did the first time we tried bourbon barrels with KBS, and realized that it needed that base beer that had a little more ass to it, a little more gravity, a little more chocolate coffee to withstand the aging process. So, next question. Jeremy, you have been involved in brewing some of Founders' best-known beers. Do you ever look back on your home brewing days and wish you could make some small batch or pilot system beers? You know, these days, being in charge of the R&D department, I still get to write a lot of recipes. I get to write recipes until I'm thoroughly satisfied, and then when I can't write any more recipes, I look to my coworkers for some help. But what I do miss about home brewing is, you know, the hands-on of it, the smell in the kitchen. You know, I don't have to brew every batch myself anymore, so I do miss a little bit of the hands-on. But from home brewing, I don't miss the cleanup, and I don't miss bottling either, because huge pain. Next question. Any plans to make chocolate Dirty Bastard? We did a black version of Dirty Bastard for a black party one year. I think we called it Dirty Darkness. It didn't have any actual chocolate in it, but we threw a little bit of a de-bittered black malt to not make it too astringent, but just give it that nice, you know, smooth finish and black color. So probably not a plan to do it regularly, but it has been done. And you might see it back at a black party. Come visit us at Black Party. It's a good time. Next question, any possibility for sours? I get that one a lot. I get that a lot internally, even lots of people around here like sour beer. I suppose I would say that, you know, all things are possible. Where there's a will, there's a way. I just don't love sour beer to the point where I'm really looking to make it happen. There's a lot at stake right now. We're a pretty big volume place. We don't like to mess up, and I couldn't, in my good conscience, bring some bacteria into our facility intentionally and make beer like that. If I had another place to do it, you know, a place that only did sour beer, that would be one thing. I would probably learn what I had to learn, but right now I get bad acid reflux, so I can only drink a little bit anyways, and I'm just not in love with it. So I'm not gonna say never, but you know, it would take some certain things, some stars to align. How many pounds or tons of hops do you use to brew beer, said in a day's brew? We're gonna use about 1 million pounds of hops this year, so a little math, you divide that out by work days. What do you work in a year? 260 days, something like that.
Sounds right.
Take off your holidays. We do take off holidays around here. Just had the 4th of July off. It was luscious. Anyways, it's almost like 4,000 pounds a day or something. So it's a lot of hops. Jeremy, will we ever see a New England IPA from Founders? Ever since I experienced this style from Trillium Brewing for the first time, it's become one of my favorite styles to get my hands on. I would love to see a Founder spin on a New England IPA. Another hot topic of debate lately is the old New England IPA. The new New England IPA, I suppose I should say. You know, I love a lot of things about that beer, that style of beer. A lot of practices that I personally have been using for a long time. You know, the use of adjuncts. I love using oats and wheat in my IPAs, and I love the idea of a low bittering charge with big finishing hops and a huge dry hop. You know, I love all those things. I love juicy hops. I love just about everything except the way those things look. I just can't hardly get over the extreme haze. I don't mind a little haze. A little haze isn't bad, but I do love beautiful beer. And to me, a beautiful beer is finished. It's clean. It's removed of that yeast character. I just don't see any reason to keep it in there. I don't think it makes the beer taste better. It's probably a nightmare for people pouring these things on draft. I don't think it has to be there, and you know, I've taken a few stabs just in the last month. We got a new yeast strain in because I think that the yeast strain is a big part of it. Our ale yeast our house ale yeast is fairly neutral. You're not going to get much impact flavor-wise from that. Where I think what these beers require a little bit something with some fruity ester, something to really accentuate the juiciness of it. So I got a new yeast strain in, and I made a couple batches. They came out great, loved them, but I cannot, in good conscience, let them look terrible. So they're going to look beautiful, like all our beers do, and they're going to taste delicious also. So come on down to the tap room and check them out. Question: will founders bottle the BA curmudgeon anytime soon or in the future? Very tasty and smooth beer. Well, lots of love for the BA curmudgeon today. Let me try another sip. Will we bottle it anytime soon or in the future? Perhaps. I will say that we've bottled our curmudgeon in the maple bourbon barrels before. Called that beer Better Half. I think it was a few years ago. And that came out real nice too. I thought the extra implied sweetness from the maple barrels really kind of held the beer all together. But this is a tasty beer on its own, so I'm glad that people are digging on it, and thanks for enjoying that. I think we have one more question. Oh yes. Hey Jeremy, I once toured the gypsum mines when I was in elementary or middle school. However, now that I'm of age, I'd love to get back down in the mine and tour Founder's barrel room and have a pour from the barrel. What does one have to do to be so lucky? Says Colin. Thanks for your question, Colin. Gypsum mines are a very cool place. We get down there you know, every couple weeks to check on the progress, and once in a while we bring some special guests down there. I will say that they're generally internal people, and there are a lot of internal people that even haven't been to the mines yet too. So I don't think we're going to be starting a public tour system anytime soon. So I will just, we'll take some videos down there and show you what it's like. But as far as bringing public people down there, probably not going to happen unless you win a very special contest. But I don't know. Anyways, thank you so much all for your questions and your time hanging listening to my answers. So enjoy the rest of your lovely day.